It all started when I was lusting after my friend's boyfriend. Usually, if you are a man, the guy that will sleep with your wife when you have a fight, it is your best friend. If you are a woman as well, usually the woman that will end up getting married to your boyfriend or your husband, even dating in secret when you are having problems in your marriage or relationship, it is your best friend. I do not have any best friend because I was one of those toxic type of a best friend who pretended to be someone that cared for my best friend, but I ended up killing him. The first advice that I want to give to you guys is that when you are married, let your husband be your best friend. Let your wife become your best friend. They should not be any other best friend, because any friend will come into your life will only come to harm your relationship, and he would try or she would try to enforce things that she or he is unable to enforce in his own life, and this will cause a lot of problems in your own life. How are you, Brother Nashi? Please post my story on your confessions page, but when you are posting, I am begging you, do not share the name of the ghost account that I am using, because I am using this ghost account to comment and like on other pages, so I do not want people to recognize that it is I am a woman that is aged 26 years old, and I'm staying here in Soweto, where I was born and I was raised. What I want to first say is that I want to confess the witchcraft that I did. This witchcraft that I did against my own best friend. For the love of money is the root of all evil. I never imagined in my life that I'll end up going to a sangoma. Me, with the way that I used to pray. I grew up in the Seventh-day Adventist Church. I never thought that in my life I would ever consult with a traditional healer, because our church, they forbid someone to go and consult with familiar spirits, but I ended up going there because I wanted what she had. And in life, you should say never, because you never know what is going to happen to you. Me and my friend, we went to the same group A type school, those private schools. We never lacked food or clothes because both of our parents, they were working in the government. But in my heart, there was never enough. I wanted more. And as for my best friend, whom I will call Dineo, she was someone that always had these handsome guys, even though I considered myself to be much more beautiful than she was, but she always had these handsome guys that were fighting for him. And what used to pain me quite a lot was that some of these guys, they would come to me and they would be like, can you speak with your friend, because I want her. And I'll be like, dude, can't you see that I am here, I'm single, why can't you date me? But these guys, they always wanted Dineo. I don't know why. She seemed to have this magnetic thing that she had, and boys, they just liked to date him. So even though I resented her, but I still loved her as a sister. We lived on the same street and we shared every secret and knew every boy the other had ever talked to. We were really close, so she thought. Then the balance of our friendship shifted. Grace met a man who was a politician's son. He was not just rich. This guy was very kind. He started to change her life, and all of a sudden, when we were now in college, that was when he bought her a car, started to renovate a family's house, and treated him like a princess. When Grace told me that he had proposed and that his family loved him, something started to make me resent her even more. I still remember that these are the day when we were driving. I just said to myself, I wish that he could just dump her, and I want to see what is going to happen to her. She is now acting as if she has now this guy that has money and she is much better than I am, because when we were going to the CBD on the highway, she was busy giving me some love advice to stop dating these young boys who could not change my life, and I was supposed to hang out with her fiance's friends, and I had tried to do that, and I had slept with all of them, and they had forgotten about me. What else was I supposed to do? I had done the same thing that she had done, to sleep with that guy, and that did not mean that I was loose, because she had also done the same. I had tried to sleep with their fiance's friends, but all that they had seen was a woman that they could sleep with and forget, and only call when they wanted to have sex with. And in him, when I would see him, I did not see my friend anymore. Rather, I saw someone that was going to move out of Soweto, that was going to forget me, and I was going to be that type of a friend who comes from the location going to visit a friend in the suburbs. Or at least I would be staying in the location. I began to imagine her looking down on me from her husband's Mercedes. The jealous was so hot, it felt like I was having a fever. I tried to think of ways to break them up, but these two, they were glued by real love. There was only one way to take her place. I decided that Grace had to die so that I could comfort the grieving fiance if it happened that she died, and eventually I was going to step into her shoes. I was chosen to be the bestie, maid of honor for her wedding. I was in every meeting, every dress fitting. I used that access to watch her like a predator. I did not want to use any common poison. I wanted death that looked like fate. I went to my hairdresser, who I knew had dealt with a rival before. This hairdresser, she was a foreigner who was staying at my uncle's house. She was a tenant there. So the story goes like this. This woman, she would be in South Africa maybe for 3 months, and then she would return back to her country, and she would come back again. So she was married as well. And then there was this other woman who started to date her husband, and then she found out. She gave a warning to that woman to stop dating her husband, but that woman then said, "You are stupid." And this lady, she started to run mad. As she was running mad, she would tell anyone that she would meet that she was sorry, and she had been bewitched by the woman whom she had been sleeping with them husband, and she was telling everyone in the location to go and to ask that woman for forgiveness. That is what was happening. And when people went to that woman to ask him if it was for real that she was doing these rituals, and she agreed, and she said, "Yes, I did rituals." And there were a lot of women that started to go to that lady so that she can also assist them with the charms to bring back their husbands and to stop their husbands from cheating. She owned a hair salon. So I went to her. She was my hairdresser, and then I told him that this friend of mine, Dineo, that she knew very well, she was no longer a friend. She had stolen my husband to be, and I want other people to know and to understand when someone is bewitched. If you are bewitched, you need to understand that at the altar, when they are creating the altar, it is an altar that comes from a place of hatred. So if you are someone that pray, you have to pray knowing that you are praying against someone that hates you with all of their life, and a person that wish for you to die. That you need to understand in order for you to be able to pray without even resting. So with the hatred that I had for her, I lied to this part-time sangoma that my friend Dineo, she had stolen my fiance. And when you have told a sangoma or a spiritualist that someone has stolen your boyfriend or your fiance, that sangoma will be on your side, and that sangoma will try by all means to make sure that the person that would have hurt you is going to get hurt. And the sangomas, they don't even investigate to see if this person that is standing in front of them is telling them the truth. I might be wrong, but I think that maybe that is how the kingdom of darkness operates. Because in my case, in my situation, if this sangoma had just investigated and to just ask around, a lot of people would have told you that it is a lie. I had never had a fiance by that name, and this man was my best friend's fiance. But maybe the kingdom of darkness does not really care. So that sangoma told me that because of the bitterness that I had, because of this woman had stolen my fiance, my husband to be, it was going to be easy, but there was money that was needed. She told me of places from her country where she would go to, and then she would return back and she would give me the charms. She told me that she was supposed to go and leave some things, items that belonged to my friend, like her clothes, even an underwear, if I could. I ended up stealing one of her old G-string, a red one that she had never worn. I knew in a long time, because when I went to search in her apartment, I looked for old clothes and I saw it and I stole it and I gave it to this woman. This woman then went with it, and she said that she left it in a cave in the mountains in the village where she comes from in her country. So then when she returned back, that was when she told me that she could not complete this ritual alone. She was working with other sangomas, and she told me that the cost was supposed to be the cost of 3 cows. So I ended up paying money, a lot, which was close to 40 something thousand, and I was dating a blesser who made me to sleep with him without protection, because we had been dating, sleeping with each other, not using any protection at all. So when I told him that I wanted to borrow money, which was around 40k, he said, I can't just give you when I do not sleep with you without using any protection. So I agreed. That is how I ended up contracting HIV, and I gave her the money, and then we performed the full ritual. So this ritual, it was not done in a single day. It was a whole lot of a process that was being done. I had to wait for a sunny day, and on a sunny day I visited my friend, and I had to scoop the soil from Dineo's shadow whilst she was just standing. We were by her garden, and then I took it and I wrapped it in a small black cloth when I had gone into the bathroom, and I hid it in my pocket. And then I had to, for a bird's nest, and then to take the bird's droppings, and then I wrapped these things together, and I went and I gave it to that sangoma. The sangoma then told me that she would go back to her country, and she was going to throw it in a river where the water was always flowing. A week before the wedding, that was when Dineo started to lose her mind. Before that, she was now taking drugs all of a sudden. It is not each and every person that is heavily addicted to drugs is someone that just started taking drugs for no reason. Some of them, there is a spirit behind. They have been bewitched because maybe they were about to be successful in life. They were going to university, and maybe a jealousy neighbor, a jealousy relative then bewitched them, just like what I did to Dineo. I bewitched her, and then she started to take nyaupe, and then she started to lose her mind before the wedding. And because she was losing her mind, it was not possible for the wedding to take place, and then she died. She was crossing the N1 late at night, and she was hit by a truck, and that is how she passed away. At her funeral, I was the one that was crying the loudest. It was as if I was grieving for my best friend, but inside I was thinking and calculating how long should I wait before I could check in on the politician's son. I did not realize that when you kill a friend, the ghost is going to return back and to haunt you. The horror started at the funeral house whilst her body was lying. So when we went to collect the body with the family, I saw Dineo. She walked out of the funeral parlor as we were going to the cars for AFBOB that we had gone with to collect the body, her own coffin, it was as if it was moving. I saw Dineo, but there was no one that saw her. It was only me. When we were at the cemetery, I saw her twice, and on that same evening I saw her again. She was standing in the room where I was. I could not sleep on my own because of what I had seen. Since the day we buried her, my life became so terrible. I finally got married to the politician's son, and we had a baby together, a baby girl. And I sometimes see the ghost of my best friend, and when I see him, me and my husband, we don't stay together, because when we start to stay together, we are on separation, but he told me that he's not going to divorce me for the sake of our daughter. When we are staying together, our daughter will get so sick so much that it gets so painful. And when I visited the sangoma, that was when I was told that my best friend's spirit said that I am not going to allow her to stay with my husband the way that she wants. It is not going to happen. I am going to make her daughter to become sick the moment that they stay together. So this is the relationship that I am involved in right now. I am just a lonely woman. If I try to have a boyfriend, that boyfriend will start to get sick as well. I have been to different sangomas, but I feel that I am trapped. That same woman who assisted me, she started to blackmail me, and I stopped visiting a shrine. There was a time when she would demand money from me, saying that she was going to tell my husband that this is what I did to my best friend, and I saw that she is not a good person. She has only demonic evil intentions. So I stopped visiting a shrine, and then she cursed me and she said, you should never return back to my shrine. So I have not been to a shrine in a very long time. This is my confession. If I could bring back my best friend, I could do it, and I would give her the fiance back. I do not want him, but only for the money, because he is someone that takes care of me as well as taking care of my family, since he is money. But I regret the things that I did. There was a day when I thought of going to my friend's grave so that I can apologize. I went and I bought some flowers, and as I was driving towards the cemetery, I nearly had an accident. My tire just blew. I don't know how I managed to control my vehicle. I could have died on that day, and I just heard a voice that was asking me where exactly was I headed to, because the person that I wanted to go and put flowers on her grave was a person that I had killed. So why was I going to her grave with what I had done to him? So I just waited for the guys that came to fix my tire, and then I drove back home. I have never been to her grave ever since I nearly had that accident where I nearly died. Even when they put a tombstone on her grave, her mother called me, and I had to lie that I was out of the province, but I was at my place because I was afraid to go and see her grave once again. I thought that maybe I'll start to run mad, because some of the dreams that I have, I'll be running mad and she'll be chasing after me. Never take what does not belong to you. That is my advice, bro. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our dear sister. Let us try to speak with our dear sister in the comment section. Strange things indeed, they do happen in this world.